Welcome to another episode of the SurgeCast. We are 2 games in to the playoffs. How are we feeling, Zach?
Overall, the Hurricanes, fantastic. 2 games, 2 wins. Outscored them 7-2. You love to see it. Personally, tired, but worth it for everything that's gone on. But yeah, I mean, it's always great to talk hockey. I wouldn't change this time of year for anything else. So, but how are you feeling tonight?
I'm honestly tired. I feel like I used a lot of adrenaline on Sunday and
Yeah,
Tuesday, so I'm just kind
that's
of
fair.
surviving. It's not
Just
even
getting
work
ready for the
taking up.
weekend.
Yeah, it's not even work taking up most of my energy. It's just it literally feels like I skated the game with them or I ran a marathon. When I come
Right.
back, I mean, it takes a second to fall asleep because you're just so pumped up. Honestly, Lenovo, or as our Prez likes to say, the Lenny
Hey, you know what? The
is
Lenny works.
rocking.
The Lenny works. I like it. It's actually kind of nice. It's so much. It flows nice. So
Mhm.
not mad about that one at all. I mean, he's the man of the people. I mean, hey, half price. Parking early. He
I mean,
knows
that's
how
what
he
you
knows
gotta
how to.
do when you
Yeah,
have the worst start times in the playoffs. But let's go
yeah.
ahead and get started with that. Game 1 was on Sunday. Gotta love it. Fighting the Devils on Easter. Couldn't write the script any better if we tried. We love that, 3 o'clock start time?
Yeah, 3 o'clock start time. It's funny too because I know pregame the presser on Tuesday. They asked Jacob Slavin about that. I was like, "How does it feel to have an early start time on Easter?" He goes, "Yeah, it was kind of weird, but in the end, God wins out and all glory to God and all that stuff." So you love to hear from Jacob. But yeah, it was interesting having such an ridiculously early start time on Easter Sundays. Like, hey, I got church at 9, I got a game at 3. So like, how do we prepare for this? But yeah, it's crazy. Then it's like what 8 o'clock on Friday, then it's 3:30 again on Sunday. So it's like cool. Sure, why not?
No, honestly, the 3 o'clock on Easter was not the worst. I would say, honestly, a 6 o'clock on a Tuesday was actually much
Especially
worse because a lot
yeah,
harder to get to, which is why, as you said, they offered that free parking. Doug offered, and Stormy were both said, "Here's a letter to give to your boss so you can get the
yeah.
half day." I
Yeah,
love
I
the
know. I know a
engagement
lot of
there.
people. Yeah, I know a lot of people took that advantage of that half price parking on that because of being $45 now, and it's even cheaper than whatever the other app you can get through that stuff too. So yeah, I know a lot of people took advantage of that. So hey, it's being smart. Like I said, Doug's a man of the people, so he gets it.
Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and talk about that 3 o'clock start time
Mhm.
on Sunday, the first game against the Devils. And the Canes came out hot. First of all, that new intro video is
Oof.
amazing. I love
Yeah.
integrating the new app they have. If you haven't seen it, we highly recommend. I'm sure it's on social media, but what's fun is for the intro, they get everyone to open up their Hurricanes app, and there is a light show triggered, and it is that plus the graphics, and honestly it's just quotes and words from the players. It gets your spine tingling, it gets the goosebumps up.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
The hype video. I thought last year's hype video was really good, but then being able to see it in person for this one, I hope they put the whole thing up on socials because if that doesn't get you going, if that doesn't give you the goosebumps, like you said, or make you ready to run through a brick wall for this team, I don't know what does. Because I'm impressed, bro, and I'm watching this. I'm going like, man, like the graphics team, the video team, they absolutely nailed it this year. Like I could
Mhm.
not speak highly enough about how great the Hurricanes are in with their social media video graphics team. Like they're absolutely killing it. It's
I love the
fantastic.
graphics. I do slightly miss, people brought up the graphics from last year, and it's that one graphic where the devil is kind of sinking into the water, and I do kind of miss the
Oh
feeling of
yeah.
those graphics a little bit. I love them all, but those ones just hit so hard, and I mean, I just love our team in general, but it's giving
Yeah.
me flashbacks to those. But yeah, that hype video definitely got the boys hype. They started off on the right foot
Mhm.
with I mean, first goal of playoffs, Jalen Chatfield scoring from the point. You gotta love it.
Right off a face off
Honestly,
too. Yeah.
based off his based off his celebration, I don't think he fully thought that he scored.
Yeah.
And so then of course, everyone cheering, everyone hyping it up quickly. But they just honestly, they were full on attack on the Devils the first period the whole way. They only got one goal out of it, but it didn't really matter. It was like they were very much controlling that game. And then just to keep going, continue to control the game. Like they didn't let up in the second period. They didn't let up. Honestly, the first game of playoffs was the most complete game by the Hurricanes. It was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, I think it was the first one in a while, at least. I because there were some games, during the regular season where you saw them play a complete game. But I think this is kind of like a tone setter for the series, because you look at how you like you said, Kat, they came out flying 3 minutes in. Jalen Chatfield takes us all a chat, man. Dude, make sure you get your passports ready for that trip, and then you're coming out. You're up 1-0. You're limiting them to 5 shots. Like, okay, cool. Here's regular Hurricanes hockey. Forecheck them to death. Back check really well. Freddie doesn't really have to do a whole lot, which is good for him. Mm-hmm. Then you look at the second period, and oh my absolute goodness, Logan Stagov putting some stink on this game. Gets that.
I love that Neil said he was the player to watch, and he immediately scores. He's on Hattie watch for the first game, and I was like, right, all right, exactly. Neil, you can be right if you want to be right.
Yeah, right. Like he scores that goal off a great pass from the captain, hits it right to him in the front. I know the ice was absolutely crap, but he was able to get the puck off at the right time and get it in on the goal. And then just that whole sequence of the power play goal, getting it up to KK, he's somehow able to flip it over to Taylor Hall, who's beaten down that left side of the ice, gets to the corner, and I don't know, he put some extra mustard or whatever he decided to throw onto that sauce to get over to Stank, and then he just hits it far post in that top 90 area, and that ping was so loud. I think you probably could have heard that in the Outer Banks. That's how loud that thing was. and that place erupted. Like, you could hear it was so loud. I mean, I know you guys are there, but you could clearly hear how loud that arena got. And you're up 3-0, and you're just taking it to them because you held them to 13 shots in the first 2 periods. And you're just, blowing the doors off game 1,
Yeah, and even when the Devils got 1 goal back, and it didn't even
on a 4-on-4.
It didn't even phase the Canes. Like, they came back and they were like, "That's fine."
The crazy part, Kat, was that shouldn't have been a 4-on-4, because I don't know how you embellish getting cross-checked to the neck, but I mean, here we are. It's just, that was so stupid. That's the reason why the Devils scored, is because of a 4-on-4. And I do want to bring this up. I thought it was interesting because I was listening to Brad and Ray. I just mind
Storm.
Thank you. Yeah, my mind just completely shut off for a second. They were talking about that goal, and they were kind of saying, "Oh, that was a soft one from Freddie." And I'm like, maybe he was playing a little deep, but gotta give credit to Nico Hischier, because that's far post right off going in. I don't really know how much more Freddie could do on that one, so I kind of get where they're coming from, but at the same time, that was a shot by Nico Hischier that I don't think a lot of goalies would have stopped.
I mean, I've seen those shots in the other games going on right now. I've seen shots like that from other that are going in on goalies. Like, it's just a good shot. Yes, it seems far out; they should have it, but when it's placed that top post, hard to get. So I also wasn't really upset about that. Like, Freddie's been playing outstanding. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a second.
I have whole series stats already on Freddie, because he's just been absolutely dialed. Yeah, you're up 3-1 after 2. You're feeling good about yourself. Like I said, I think you had 15 and 18 shots each on your side and holding them to 13. Hey, you're feeling pretty good about yourself going into the last period up 3-1, and pretty much just enforcing your will on them.
Yeah, and you survive. The Devils give a little bit of a pushback because they get a little life from that goal. They have a little bit of pushback, and the Canes survived it, no problem, even ending with an empty netter.
The Andrei Svechnikov special. Ending
that game, ending game 1, 4-1. The game stats being, we outshot them 45-24. Honestly, it was a very lopsided shot. So while Freddie did really well, he didn't face a whole lot.
They got half their shots in the third period because they had 11 in that 1-on-1.
The Devils honestly came out a little bit defeated. Like, they started the game kind of looking like they didn't think they could win. Honestly, that's how it felt. I'm not upset with that, because we definitely were like, all right, we're here to win. We're ready to play. The face-off percentage, not exactly in our favor. We're only at
48 to 38, yeah.
39%. Yeah. Power plays, though, we did get a power play goal, 1 for 3.
PK was great.
Only 6 penalty minutes. Hits were about 50-50. Block shots, we had a little bit more.
Well, and the thing too, Kat, like technically the Hurricanes only committed 1 penalty to go on the disadvantage because of that 4-on-4. So I kind of look at it as, well, yeah, they went 2 for 2, but technically it was 1 for 1. But hey, what do we talk about? We talked about limiting their ability to get on special teams, and the Canes did that. They limited it, and they took advantage of a power play goal because we've been talking about for how long. You have to have your special teams going. You got the power play goal. You shut them down their PK. Hey, there's some net positives right there that kind of set yourself up to be in a good spot. So, all in all, great first game to set the tempo for the series.
It was a very big tone setter. Honestly, 3 stars of the game: Stank, Anderson, and Chatfield. They were all. But the whole team was a unit. Nobody really. Guys, Brent Burns was on top of it. Orlov was on top of it. Guys that we've said, okay, they've had their struggles. The whole team came out and played extremely well. And it also showed, like, you're not going to see a lot of our top unit on the score sheet currently in these 2 games, but that doesn't mean they're not getting high danger chances. Honestly, all of our lines have been. But it's kind of interesting. More of our second to third have had a little bit more on the score sheet.
I'll say this, Kat. I know we're going to talk about game 2 in here in a little bit, but for me, it's that second line of Hall, KK, and Svechnikov have been the most dominant line, I think, out of not just the Hurricanes, but the whole team, like both teams in general. Because like I said, just real quick, for like their chances for and against, you're talking like a 24 difference of net positive, where you're looking at like over, I think it's like 36 chances for, like 16 or something like, or like 12 against. Like they're not like that second line is giving the opposition no chances on any like control. Like their Corsi 4 is at 75%. That's the only group that's in 75, and even their shots for, they're the only group that's in a 70. Everyone else is like 56.2 or 56.5 on the Hurricanes. Like that second line is absolutely dialed in on creating chances for puck possession and putting pucks on net and limiting their chances.
I have so many thoughts on the second line. I have a lot of thoughts after these 2 games. I'll go ahead and go into the second one because I definitely have some thoughts that kind of span across both of them. But for the second game, it's a little bit of a different story. You got that disgusting 6:00 start time on a Tuesday. And honestly,
and a literal storm was brewing outside, like lightning.
Yeah, I walked through that to get in.
Lightning actually at the parking lot too, which is crazy.
But yeah, with the second game, it was a little bit reverse. So you come into the first period, and it's the Devils that are on top of their game. The Canes are a little bit on their heels. The Devils have full force pressure. It's a very different looking team from the first game, which is interesting because they are actually down 2 more players. 2 more defensemen than they had been in the first game. So you're like, wow, they're just really getting shot while they're down. So the Canes go down 1-0. It kind of feels like a reverse. Like one team has heavy pressure, they go up 1. All right, but this time it's in favor of the Devils. I think we were being outshot in the first period. We were being outworked, but we did survive it. Freddie played fantastic. The goal was a little weird. It was a bad clear, and then you had Orlov and Burns on the ice, and it just was nobody knew where the brat was back door.
Yeah,
coverage.
He's crashing that crashing that on a Haller rebound shot that nothing Freddie could do on it. Yeah, because the first 7 minutes, and you heard Jordan Martinook talk about it, during the first intermission and during the post game pressers too. He's like, yeah, first 7 minutes wasn't great. Luckily, after that, they kind of were dialed in. It's just you kind of knew going into the game that the Devils are going to be playing very mad for how they got the breaks being off them in game 1. I think this is where it's like you knew they were coming out firing. And yeah, like you said, like they were getting pretty much outshot for most of that period. I think it ended a lot closer than it was. I think at one point it was like 7-2 in favor of the Devils. Like they had 5 shots the whole first period alone in game 1. They already had 7, not even halfway through. So it was definitely one of those things where you knew they were going to come out on fire, and I think the Canes kind of slipped a little bit. But yeah, luckily Freddie Yeah, only gave up that one. Nothing he can do when you get a guy crashing back door. No one's really picking him up. But other than that, stood tall, made a lot of 10-bell saves. I know we're going to, as we progress through the game, he made a lot more of those because, my goodness, Freddie has been standing on his skull and brains in game 2 to preserve.
Yeah. So the Canes have a little bit of a shaky first period, but they come back the second and they're like, all right, nope, now we're ready. It's actually 7:00 now, which is now our actual game time. So we're ready to play.
Yeah,
and
it
they
took
did
a little
come
bit.
out to play. There was a lot more pressure from the Canes, a lot more high danger chances. And we love to see Shane Gostisbehere put in his own rebound. Then shortly after, you almost had a second one, but it just barely didn't cross the line, and you had Pesce and Hamilton there ready to like bring it back.
Brett Pesce 3 times denied goals from the Hurricanes. I'm like, gosh darn this guy.
But that's I mean, that's what he does. That's why we liked him.
Hey, love you, Pesce, but stop doing it for them. but I mean, yeah, I mean, Shane Gostisbehere, I mean, just the way he was able to go in there, pick up the loose change, go for a shot for himself, didn't work out. And then the way he roofed it, absolutely fantastic. I love his facial reaction of him and Jarvis seeing Aho. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, they went to celebrate. Aho went to them. He fell, and both their faces went from excitement to, oh my gosh, did that just happen? And then they started laughing.
I like how, it's like they kind of look at each other like, oh, like the images from that celebration of them just being like completely shocked and looking at each other and looking back. Absolutely fantastic, man. You love to see it from Shane Gostisbehere. I mean, the dude definitely deserves it. Even after, going back to the locker room for a little bit just to kind of collect himself too, and comes back on the ice. Like, you have to love it from Shane, just being able to do that. And, hey, belated birthday present to himself with that goal. So yeah, just a fantastic, like I said, top right under the bar. That's just, it goes to show that the pressure the Hurricanes are building definitely paid off, and you're seeing that depth scoring, which I know we'll talk about more of the depth later, but
it made them so it made the Devils very shaky. Like, they quickly got off their game. Markstrom was a little bit shook. Like I said, there was almost another goal immediately. Then we go on the penalty kill, but unfortunately on this penalty kill, I believe Aho was the one in the box. But that doesn't matter, because to add insult to injury, we went on a shorthanded goal expedition, and Mr. Jordan Wayne Gretzky Martinook says, hey, I really love to play against the Devils, and I love playoffs, and I love to show off all of my hard work throughout the season. And he got us our shorthanded goal and the winner for the game.
Yeah, game winner. Yeah, perfect 92 right off the post. Like, just like on man rush, they think he's going to pass, and he just absolutely snipes it in that top corner. And the crazy thing is that goal was actually his 7th consecutive playoff game with a point against the Devils. And now it puts him on 4 goals in 7 games. But then he, of course, got the assists later on. So a multi-point game, and he's up to 9 assists, 13 points in 7 games since 2023 of the second round. Yeah, I think Jordan.
I called him. He's the Gretzky of the Canes. We love him.
But I love Mike Maniscalco's call of, like, he just continues to beat the devil. And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. The devil didn't go down to Georgia and went to North Carolina and met a certain guy named Jordan Martinook. But you got to love it for Marty. I mean, and I asked Rod about this too post-game. I'm like, what's that seeing for him? Because, Kat, we all know, Rod preaches, hey, as long as you're doing your job off the score sheet, that's fine. Like, I'm not expecting everyone to put up 20 goals a season, but as long as you're doing your job, that's all I care about. And then for him, it's like, yeah, it's his most complete game. And he's had a lot of those, but I think this one was the most impactful of seeing him being rewarded for his efforts, like what he's done off the score sheet and then being on the score sheet in that way. It goes a long way. And you just love it for Marty, because the fact that it was a shorthanded game-winning goal, and the way he shot it too was just fantastic. And the celebration of him and Orlov just yelling at each other right before they embraced, like, I was surprised the roof was even left on the building. That's how loud it was. I'm surprised that thing wasn't just gone, because I've seen that place loud before, but that was
that's what the renovations are for. They've got to make sure that
at least Mike
secure.
Right, at least Mike Foreman's photos are going to be fine, since he's no longer there. They're not going to be falling off the wall and shattering everywhere. But yeah, that was just
but the Canes finished the game. There isn't another big push from the Devils. There is if you I'm sure a lot of people have seen the replay. There's a moment where Meyer did have a very open net, but fully missed.
Yeah.
The puck was on edge, but
just a
the
little bit.
puck luck was not there. So the Canes finish out and get that empty net goal by Seth Jarvis and an assist from Mark Nook. So Mark Nook, have yourself a game. And we end with the score of 3-1, and you've won both your home games to start the playoffs, going 2-0 into New Jersey. So we can talk a little bit more in depth on certain things with these two games, but Zach, so far with these games, what are a couple likes and a couple of dislikes? We'll start with likes. What have you liked about these games so far? Actually, no, start with dislikes. Start with dislikes because I want to end on a positive note on this section.
No, that's fine. I think when you're looking at I think some I like is you look at Freddie Anderson and just how great he's been playing for the Canes. I mean, you're looking at over the two games. You're talking about
dislikes.
Freddie is a dislike. Sorry, no, he's not a dislike. Sorry, no, he's a like.
I threw you off. I threw you off. Dislike. Start dislikes.
Okay.
Our paid intern is like probably going crazy. This is where we talk about the dislikes of the two games. That's the section.
Right. Sorry. Yeah. My brain just went all like, wait, what am I doing here? I don't really have a lot. I mean, if I had to go with one, I think it's just it's not so much with the team. It's more of the fact that it's like, for the refs, like you kind of have to look at Markstrom and be like, okay, this guy's tried to slash Svechnikov twice. He hit a ref and nothing was done with it. Like, I understand that you're in the, things get intense and stuff like that, but like you can't just have a goalie just swinging the stick on a guy multiple times and nothing's getting really done about it. I mean, I know they kind of got tangled up in game 2, but even then it's like, come on, man. Like at a certain point, it's like you got to kind of mellow out a little bit.
That is also my dislike. Like kind of laughed about it as like, man, like you hit your own player, like you took him out. But in like reality of it not being like, oh, karma really got you there. The other side of it is looking and saying, okay, you injured your own player, and everyone can clearly see that you were aiming for Svechnikov, and that's a hard slash on a player known for some injuries. Like, it's like, oh, that sucks. You got your own player. But it should also be like, okay, but you were aiming that at an opposing team member. And so, like, there should still be consequences, I think, or the ref should still be like on keeping an eye out for it. And the fact that it still kind of continued a little bit into game 2. And I'll talk a little bit more about Svedge here in a second. But yeah, he's being a little bit of a pest, but he hasn't done anything outright to Markstrom to get this reaction, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you kind of look at that of how he's been, because you look at the other side of the ice and you see Freddie kind of playing a really more of a level-headed type game.
Well, there was one guy that got in the box, and Freddie was very much just like pushing the shit out of him to get him out.
Right,
of the way.
but
it's like a realistic, like, I'm trying to get up, get out of my way, I got to get back in position. You're in my, like, you are in my zone. It's very different. I will say, as much as it's a negative, I didn't like that slash at all. And the fact that he did it again after injuring his own player is wild. He did it, so he hit his own player, and then when he realized he didn't get Svetch, he swiped again and still missed Svetch, and then did it again in the second game, which is still, I'll take that he's a little bit in his head and emotional about the game, because I'll take a rattled goalie. Unfortunate that he's taken out players with him, but I'll take a rattled goalie, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Allen in one of these two games in Jersey.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that's going to play out, because then, because they did kind of talk to Keefe about it afterwards. He's like, I didn't really see it, which I can kind of understand, because maybe he's looking at the other direction. He's not watching Svetch, But
then the replays, like, everyone showed that footage. Everyone.
Yeah, it's definitely weird for sure of how that's kind of playing out. But at some point, you really got to figure that out. I know it's like, okay, maybe you kind of have to, what do you do here? But at a certain point, it's like, come on, we got to figure something out. But another negative, I mean,
There's not many. I don't blame you. There's
There-
not many. I have one more thought, and that's like it's not even really a negative. It's just a thought. But
Okay. What's your
I would
thought?
say looking at these two games, like we'll talk a little bit more about our thoughts about the New Jersey games coming up.
Mhm.
But my thought is I would have liked to see Jankowski in that second game. I would have liked to see him in the lineup, and I hope to see him in New Jersey.
Yeah,
I don't fully know. In my opinion, the first game was different. The second game for sure. I think Jankowski, his play recently has earned him a spot over Roslovic a little bit.
I see you're coming out with that. I think for how Jankowski's been, I think for the fact that you're kind of adding, I think for where Rod is and the team is looking at is the fact that you're talking about a right-handed shot center. Guy did score 22 goals. He is on the power play, one of the power play units. I think that's kind of where they're looking at in terms of maybe this is why they're putting him over Jankowski. I get where you're coming from, and I think maybe we will see him hopefully at some point, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. If he does get in game 3, that'd be great. Maybe game 4, but I think that's one good thing for the Hurricanes is the fact that you're looking at how this is pretty much the most healthiest team we've had going into the playoffs, and you have all these guys that depending on situation battles, maybe you do throw a Jankowski in there, maybe because of the fact now you're going second change. Maybe you do need him to go in there when you need it too. So maybe it's one of those things where, now they can plug and play guys in for certain game situations and certain game types. So maybe that's one thing the Hurricanes have. So
yeah, it's definitely a positive. Like it's not bad at all. Like that's a great problem to have. My only thought, and again, to counter it. So you have Roslovic on one of the power play units. It's the second unit. It's not that unit hasn't really done great. But in a counter, I would say I like having Jankowski out there because unlike having someone on the power play, he is a penalty killer and he is a great defensive player, but he's also, to counter it too, as much as he does the work on the penalty kill, he does like the Jordan Stahl spot. He's very responsible there. He plays really well on that fourth line. Him and I think Robinson play pretty dang well together. But he's got the offense recently that's been backing it up too. So you've got like a little bit more of a well-rounded player and a big guy that he'll do battles at the boards, and it's nothing against Roslovic. I
completely agree. No, honestly, Kev, if it was me, I would put Jankowski in too. I'm just saying that's probably what the reasons that they're going for.
And I think Roslovic had a great first game. The second game, I was like, I would have switched it up a little bit just because I felt like he was getting bullied a little bit. But
I still think he's better as a winger, but then even then it's like, who do you kind of take out of the lineup if you throw him on a winger spot? Because you brought Carey back for a reason because he's been there and done
Carey he has switched things up, so he made it even more of a, oh my gosh, where do we put people? But that is my only like kind of two dislikes of the thing. I think the two, like the guy showed, okay, we didn't start the best, but they came back and they didn't let them face them. Anytime they've been scored on, they've come right back. I would say my likes for the series is that it's the work hard, it's the don't give up, it's the give the 100% the whole time. And I would say my other big he's on the score sheet, but it's only an empty netter. But Svech has been playing absolutely incredible. Like he has played so well. You're like, he should be rewarded with some goals. Honestly, Robinson should get some goals. He's had a couple of breakaways.
Robinson and Stahl should at least have 2 goals each because they were all over Markstrom in game 2.
But sticking on Svech, he has done the work. He's been the pest. He's been botting. He's been staying out of the box. Knock on all the wood. But he's been getting in their head, but he's also been making some fantastic plays to get his teammates set up to do. Like he is doing all the work that you want from him. He is playing the power forward that honestly everyone wanted from Rantanen, and that you didn't even get this work. You got no goals and you got no work ethic from Mikko. Now you're getting the work ethic from Svech, and hopefully you should get the goals to follow as well.
Right. And and that's the thing where it's Yeah, you've been kind of waiting for it all season for him to be like that guy. Yeah, I mean, he's not doing that. Like, oh, I'm not going to put the team on my back and control the game, but he is doing those things you've kind of been asking for. And I think it's coming at the right time, too, because, going into the playoffs, you're like, okay, how's he going to be? He hasn't really been like that physical presence. You feel like you're kind of taken off a little bit from his, his edge. But he's been, like you said, Kai, he's been doing everything that you kind of need out of him. He's not taking a lot of penalties, knock on wood. And he's been kind of doing his thing. So maybe that, like I said earlier, when you're talking about the Corsi, natural stat trick stuff, like that line of him with Hall and KK, I think Hall has really definitely done a good job for KK as well. And just pairing those two with Svetch, that line has been, like I said, on paper, probably one of the most dominant lines when it comes to puck possession and chances.
Well, if you look at their different characters, so you've got KK, the big body, the guy, the Jordan Stahl type player, very defensive minded,
defensive, yep.
Big body in front of the net. He can take a shot when he needs to. Then you've got Hall. He's like the creative playmaker. He's moving around the ice. He's getting scrappy. Yep. And then you get Svetch, who's gonna, if he plays his power forward, he kind of complements both and does a combination of both roles. But it like complements his other two partners so well that the whole line works together really well as a unit. So I would say that's a big like of mine. Honestly, I love the jump from our defense. Ghost and Walker, I think, have been the absolute best unit we have. Oh, 100%. I love everyone else, but those two have just been like,
Ghost and Walker, together. Yeah. Ghost and Walker, you could definitely tell, especially in game 2, like they were just peppering the crap out of the netminder, and the way they've been moving the puck around too has been absolutely fluid. Like those two worked so well together. Like even when that mad scramble where Pesci got the puck off the line, you just see Walker absolutely trying to blast that sucker into the net.
I get excited every time Walker gets the puck. I'm like, shoot it! You got the shot now. You're his shots are crazy.
Him and Ghost, the fact that we got them at least for another 2 seasons together is gonna be so electric to watch. Like I love both signings. I know we got Walker for a little bit longer than Gostisbehere, but even after Ghost's contract is up in a couple seasons, I hope we extend him longer because it's just the Ghost Walker line of those pairing, it's absolutely perfect. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. That's a great thing to have for the Kansas, those guys.
But besides that, I think again, our special teams have been. I think they've been great. I think the power play, it's getting better. Like I think it's had some struggles. This would be, I guess, is another like slight dislike. I don't know if I agree with switching Hall and Svetch. But honestly, and this might be a little bit of a spicy take, and I don't think Rod would ever do it. But my little bit of a spicy take is I wish we actually would switch Hall and Aho. I don't think we do it, but I think in the setup of the first power play units, you have Ghost as your quarterback. You got JB for some movement. You have Svetch for that big power shot. You have Jarvis also with a quick shot and moving it around. But Hall has been a better like secondary quarterback, doing creative plays. Outside of what Aho does, I find Aho this season especially has hesitated a lot. He's either gone back and forth with passes with someone. He's hesitated whether to shoot. I would like to see Hall as a mix in there instead of Aho just because of how much creativity he throws there. Because then you're also getting that creativity with a shot like Svetch's. And if you're wanting to get Svetch going, I think that could help. And then Aho could also give some creativity to that second unit. I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, honestly, I would say maybe throw Stank up there. Get some net front.
Yeah, you could. I don't know if it's fully our net front as it is our movement. And I don't
I don't
always see the movement from Aho that I see from Hall.
From Hall.
But that's my only thought. And I know it's probably it's a hot take and it's probably not going to happen with Aho being Aho, but
I don't really think it's a hot take. Maybe it's got a little spice to it, but nothing like too crazy.
It's a hot take with Rod.
Well, yeah, true. So I guess I'm going to go back to my actual where I got confused on what we were starting at with early on. Freddie Anderson. I mean, like I said, 2 games, 2 wins. It's the first time he played consecutive games since last year's playoffs, and 1 goal against average in 2 games. I think it's like 119 minutes and something seconds of ice time for him. How about this though, too, Kat? He had a .958 in game 1 and a .962 in game 2. He's got a save percentage of .960 after 2 games.
He's been they haven't updated for the game today for the Capitals, but he's been the top goaltender in the 2 games. He's been above Logan Thompson. They're about neck and neck.
Yeah.
But honestly, we can keep talking about Freddie. But honestly, if you're looking at that NHL player goaltending postseason stats, the most crazy thing, if you look at those, is the guy that's at the bottom. So yeah, Stuart Skinner is going to be down there towards the bottom. But the bigger surprise, Andre Vasilevsky is the worst with a save percentage of .625. Oof.
Yeah, the fact that it took that long for them to get that series even rolling, then now he's getting absolutely just shellacked out of that one.
They did it for the Kachuk. They did it for Kachuk, and I stand by that.
No, 100%. Yeah, that was just absolutely crazy how that kind of worked out. But yeah, it's wild. But just to see how Freddie's been, the Great Dane to what he's been doing, he's just a brick wall. And it's like, I know we kind of talked about it a lot during the regular season, and I'm kind of just like, man, if he has a playoff run where he's just lights out, and we're talking maybe Conn Smythe levels, do the Kings do it again, Kat? Do they keep Freddie longer? I'm not sure though. If they do, I'll say this. If they do though, go get yourself an Alex Lyon to be the kind of like that back and forth, because he's been there and done that in the NHL. I think you should have a better bona fide third NHL goalie that can kind of be in both A and the NHL if you want to do it that way. But I don't know if they're going to, but just saying.
It's hard because Freddie will do all of this, yes, but it's in the long run. Can you rely on him? And yes, he's had his injuries, and his injuries have been crazy. No one blames him for the blood clot. That stuff's wild. The rest of it is just oof. But if you look around the league, a lot of other goaltenders were injured quite a lot. So it's do you take that chance with someone else? They could also get injured. I think it's going to come to what is available.
Yeah.
And if you have a better option.
Yeah, because you're looking at maybe Forsberg, you may be looking at Lyon, maybe there's some other, Vladar. There were some guys that are okay, but you're kind of like,
there's some that are available, but they're not better than Anderson.
Right, exactly. Like Alex Lyon wouldn't be a bad option. I think if you're keeping Freddie, I think you go get Lyon to be like, hey, you're gonna be our third. Go play with Chicago. Do what you need to do. If we need you, hey, then we know you've been there and done that in the NHL. You'll be a great backup of 1B to Piotr if anything happens. But obviously, I don't think it's going to happen. But I would not be surprised when just kind of putting it out there as a, hey, you just never know, especially with how Freddie's been, and of course where the goalie market is. But I did say right now for the playoff run, like I said, he's been 10 bell saves. All game 2, oh my goodness, I don't know how he made a lot of those saves, and especially the one where it was back to back off the pads, the crowd's going nuts, Freddie chants are going.
So here's my question to you though, and we'll get on to our next topic. Then we're looking at the first away games, and playoffs don't start.
I do have a couple more likes real quick though, but ask her.
Okay, go ahead. Well, we moved on to the goalie, the best goalie, but go ahead, give your likes. You got more.
Just one more, and I think it's just the fact of for me, we've already kind of talked about him, so we're not going to go too much into depth of it. For me, it's Jordan Martinook, of just him being that guy for the Hurricanes once again, and just for the fact that it's just the unsung hero of, it's the work ethic, it's the off score sheet stuff that's kind of now capitalizing for him. Is putting in, it's cashing in on what he's been doing, because he had a great regular season. Now he's being rewarded for his efforts once again. And Rod said it's probably a coincidence of just how he always turns up for the Devils, but it's not a coincidence of a guy like Jordan Martinook to thrive in the playoffs. And I'm like, that was some insane knowledge from Rod Brind'Amour. I'm like, put that on some t-shirts or bumper stickers. It's a coincidence of that happening, but not a coincidence of a guy like that showing out in the playoffs. I'm like, Yeah, essentially, that's basically it. Like that personifies it perfectly of who Jordan Martinook is. Of he's a playoff guy. Give him the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you got an all around even performer. Like he's not going to go down in his consistency. If anything, he'll elevate his game, and that's what you want when it comes to playoffs.
Yep.
All right, are we done with the likes? Or can we move on? Okay.
Yes. Hey, you did a couple. I had a couple. It's all fair.
All right, it's all right. It's all right. No, it's fine. The segue just changed a little bit, but
Yes.
We are moving on to the wonderful state of New Jersey. It's the first away games for the Canes of playoffs. You know, playoffs don't start till you win a game on the road. Canes have struggled a little bit on the road. If they play the way they've been playing, I don't know if those struggles will be the same. So here's the first question. Do you stick with Freddie when you go to New Jersey?
That, honestly, that was definitely one of the questions that was brought up. And Rod knows like they don't want.
Did Rod actually give an answer?
He didn't say who they're going to go with, but they kind of an idea. But he also knows like they don't want to overuse Freddie. So it definitely, I mean, with the fact that you have Wednesday off, you have a Thursday practice before you fly out that afternoon. Does the extra rest help Freddie? I think it does. But do you go with him again? I mean, you're writing it. I mean, you got a goalie who's got a .960 save percentage and a 1 goal against, but also too, I wouldn't rest Piotr any longer because you don't want him to go stone cold, ice cold, and he hasn't played in a while. So I would love to say yes, go with Freddie because he's been playing on fire, but I also don't want to overuse him because, like I said, this is the first time he's started consecutive games since the playoffs of 2024. I would say give Freddie another extra game of rest and let him go Sunday and give game 3 to Piotr and see how he does. Because, like I said, it's that balancing act of not overusing a guy and then having another guy go cold where he's just not getting game action. I say go with Piotr.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think you go with Piotr for the next game. Yes, you're giving You're giving Freddie some rest.
You're keeping ready.
You're keeping Freddie ready. You're giving Freddie rest and a little extra rest because that's how it's kind of been with the season. But you're giving him
2
some
games
rest.
in 3 days. Like,
and the fact that
Sunday.
if you look around the league, like there are other people that are like, hey, if there is a team that can go with actually flipping their goalies a lot more in playoffs than any other team, it'd be the Carolina Hurricanes because that's how it works for us.
I have to say it. I agree with Biz. He said it on Chicklets. I'm like, that. We've all been saying that.
That's one thing I agree with him. But yeah, I would say give Piotr, get him going, give him 3. It's going to be, if anything, it's the environment you need him to step up to. You're going to a hostile environment. It's playoffs. You're up in the series, so you've got the momentum with the guys. They have been playing so well. They should play just as well there. Yes, it's going to be a little bit difficult. You don't have last change. The Devils are going to be fighting because they can't afford really to go down 3-0.
No, so it's a stranglehold at that point.
It's tough, but it's that environment that you need to get your second goaltender into playoff mode. And you don't want to overdo it with your first goaltender. So I do think you should go with Freddie. I mean, you should go with Piotr for the third game. And this kind of goes with my thought process too. Canes might be in 5. They could, with the way the series is going, I do think it could be done in 4. I do think there's going to be a lot of pressure when they go to New Jersey that I'm not going to be surprised if they drop a game. I don't know whether it'll be the 3rd. I don't know if it'll be the 4th.
Right.
But if they drop it, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's just going to be like, all right, we adjust and we're back at it because I don't think it's going to be any sort of overwhelming win by the Devils. I think it might be like a 2-1 or something like that. And the Canes are like, we were right there. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, because like you said, because I think where I think it's going to be that adjustment period of being that second change. I think that's where it's kind of.
That's what gets us a lot of the time is we don't get the matchups that we want.
That's why
our matchups are overwhelming when we do.
Right. That's where I kind of look at it as. I've had people ask me this, like, do you think the Canes are going to sweep? I'm like, no, because it's hard to sweep already as it is. And I think while the Devils are shorthanded on some guys, I still think that they're a team who could still get one at home. So I think for me, this is where, like, you're asking, like, where's the drop come? I say game 3 is the drop game because you're kind of having to get used to
It's an adjustment game. It's an adjustment
exactly. Then it's game 4. You split the road. You get that one, and then you go back to Carolina for game 5. I think it's the following Tuesday, if I'm correct. If I'm right, I can't remember how it was for the schedule because I know it's.
think so.
I know because I know it's Friday, Sunday because like we had like the 2 games in 3 days.
Yeah, I believe it would be Tuesday again.
Okay, then yeah. So if you're looking at game 5 Tuesday, I think that's where you get it done for game 5 for that win. So I think game 3 is the drop. 4 you pick it up because you get adjusted and get used to it. Then you go and take care. That's why I'm still sticking to 5 just because of that process.
I'll stick to 5 too, but if
it's possible, it is possible.
If the third game is your potential, okay, this might be your drop game. I almost say that's even better to put Piotr in there, not for him to have the fail game because I don't think that's it. I think it's that's the game where it's like you have a little bit of the odds a little bit more against you for him to really stand out and really push and maybe steal that game. Get his confidence up. That's amazing.
Off. Yeah, then if he steals that game 3 and you're up 3-0 going into Sunday's game 4, all bets are off. I still say go back to Freddie for 4, close it out. You're done. Bing, bing, boom. You're done. You're ready to go. And then you're going on to the second round. And here's the thing, Kat, because I know we talked about how the Hurricanes were 16-21-4 on the road. Of course, people are like, well, regular season stats, throw them out the window. It doesn't matter. But I've heard this from Neil. I've heard this from Trey Matthews from Locked On Devils. And they've both, and I've talked to other Devils fans too, even Daniel from one of the writers over at the Hockey Writers. He's mentioned that the Devils, while their home record is 19-17-5, they are not a good home team. So that might be in the benefit for the Hurricanes. While despite the Hurricanes not having a great road record, you're going against a team who didn't really have a great home record, and that makes you wonder if, like, do you have? I think that's more, it puts the odds in our favor a little bit more too. The fact that you might be able to take a team who kind of struggles, they'll get 1 win here, but then drop 2 or 3 after that, get 1. Like they're not a team that can consistently string wins together. Yeah. So I think if you kind of use that, these guys are in their heads at home, that could play into you might be able to still game 3 despite where your road record's at. So
well, and if you look back, so yeah, the road record wasn't the best. But we had some spurts where it was. And again, that's those.
You did get back up to 500 at one point.
Yeah, a lot of the last like away games that we were losing was also games that like we had young guys it didn't really matter. We were where we wanted to be.
So, take the record with a grain of salt. Yeah, take the 16-21-4 with a grain of salt of. You had guys resting for a week. It is what it is. Like, and
again, playoffs is a different beast. You have you have to win, and you have to fight a lot more here.
You have to.
So I'm sticking with the 5. 4 is possible. I would love to see Piotr in there. I would love to see him steal that game and really put the Canes up and feeling really good for a Sunday game. I think the Devils will come out. I think the Devils will come out pushing hard, like they did in the second game. And I think the Canes now are going to expect it a little bit more than they did in the second game. And so it's going to be interesting. I think you got to take all of the opportunities you can to get it in past Markstrom. Maybe you'll see Allen one of these games. But honestly, our special teams have been killer against them. If our power play gets hot again, it would be great. But yeah, I'm excited. If the Canes keep playing the way they've been playing, I think that I'm going to say the series is definitely theirs. But I'm excited to see these next 2 games. We got a couple more things around the league to check in with the playoffs, and also looking at the Chicago Bulls have also just started their playoffs. So we're going to take a look at those. But a quick word from our sponsors, guys. Take advantage of all the deals. We'll be right back.
The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. The NHL playoffs are here, and the NHL Shop has you covered. Isn't that right, Kat?
It is. All the playoff gear is here and available as you want to support your favorite team, the Canes, in their playoff run. So if you're going to go check it out, whether it's from shirts, you want to pick up that jersey to rep your favorite player in the postseason, go check it out at the NHL Shop using our link. You want to support your favorite team. You also want to support your favorite podcast, and we really appreciate it. So guys, go get your all your playoff needs and goods and all of the above, whether it's for you or presents for other people. Go get it at the NHL Shop using our link.
Make sure you check that out. That link, nhlshop.75j.net/JEZ6B6.
All right. Welcome back. And thank you again to all of our wonderful sponsors. We wouldn't be where we are without them. And again, if you want to support your favorite and most wonderful Hurricanes podcast, please check out our affiliate link at the NHL Shop. Again, if you just want to treat yourself or your friends and family to some playoff merch and gear, if you're going to do that anyway, just use our link specifically, and that's literally it. It's nothing extra for you to do, fill out or type in. Just use that link and we'll get a little bit cut, and it'll be great, and you'll support us, and we won't just talk about the Hurricanes for free, even though, we love to do that anyway.
Well, I mean,
anyway, let's look at the playoffs around the league. We'll go ahead and keep up with the Eastern Conference since we've been talking about the Canes. The Canes are winning the series, of course, 2-0. Honestly, all of the other leagues took a second, but Toronto is right there with us, also leading 2-0. Honestly, that matchup's been a little bit interesting. It's been a little bit close. There's been a lot of fights. So if you want to see
game two was a lot closer for sure.
Yeah, honestly, if you want to watch some heavy fighting, watch Ottawa play. And then Washington and Florida decided to finally get going. Currently, Washington also leads their series 2-0. Kind of disappointed with the Canadiens. They had a chance to steal that first game, and they just didn't seem to want it when it went to overtime. So I'm not surprised. I do think the Capitals are going to win that series. I think the Canadiens just weren't the team to kind of do this upset, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it definitely interesting how that kind of plays out. Of course, Ovi getting his first, overtime.
Disgusting. As soon as they said it on TV too, I was like, done with it. Done.
Well, I can't believe that the series that we're going to talk about next, it took until like Tuesday for them to get their first game.
Because they were waiting for Tkachuk to be fully healed. I fully believe it. It's my conspiracy theory that I will die on. But yes, the Battle of Florida finally started on Tuesday after, the Canes had 2 games under their belts by then. But the Panthers did an absolute smackdown on the Lightning. It was a wild game, and it's going to make the series even more interesting because honestly, both teams are pretty rough. The Panthers are used to winning, the Lightning same, but they're also used to coming back from behind. So it's going to be a really interesting series. Now that it's started, I definitely suggest tuning in. Now looking over at the Western Conference, the Jets 2-0. I
mean, I know game 2 is a lot closer, but I mean,
they're playing like they're playing like a number one team. They're playing like a number one team. Even when they were down, they came back and said, "Hey, we play this way. We're here to win. We know what it's like. We're ready."
I mean, when you get a goaltender that has a potential for some Hart nominations and some votes, can't blame them.
The rest of the series are really interesting over in the West, but one that honestly is the most interesting that I don't think a lot of people expected, Golden Knights and Wild. Guys, a healthy Wild team is given some competition, and it's beautiful.
How wild would it be if they actually upsetted the Golden
I would
Knights?
love that. I would absolutely love that.
That would be bonkers if that worked out. But I mean, hey, that Kaprizov to Boldy, whew, man, that was
Kaprizov healthy makes a lot of difference. I know our paid intern is over there yelling because, again, Kaprizov was injured most of the series and he was on his fantasy team, so he was just upset the rest of the time. But
I mean, yeah, I know you. I know you were upset with McDavid, so
that wasn't even that as bad. But I definitely suggest tuning in when the next game is for the Golden Knights and the Wild, as the series is currently tied 1-1. They're going to be going to the Wild.
Hopefully it's not an 11 p.m. start time on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Talk about I feel bad for Minnesota fans. Their game, it started at 10 o'clock for them on the Central Time Zone. They're still starting late.
Well, it's back to the Wild. So, and it looks like their next game, it says 9 o'clock. So
9
I think
Eastern.
it's a little bit better for the Wild.
Yeah, but give me a clock time. Yeah, not terrible.
The other two games, honestly, I'm not fully surprised by the Kings and Oilers. The Kings have been the better team. They've been
almost choked game one though. Almost choked that game away, but
I mean it kind of just shows that the Oilers are just McDavid and Draisaitl. Like they had to put those two together for them to even have a chance to come back that game. Yeah. So it literally is the Oilers as those two players and then some other ones. Yeah. But the Kings currently lead 1-0. They are playing right now, so you'll get the whatever time you're tuning into this pod, you'll definitely have the updated on that. And then also going on currently is the other big game of the series, which is another, like the Knights and Wild, it is a 1-1 series between the Stars and the Avalanche. And while we're recording as well, it's a big game because Captain Gabriel Landeskog has made his NHL return.
After 1,032 days, is officially back. You'd love to see it for the captain of the Avalanche. I mean, he's probably one of my favorite Swedes in the league, and it's good to see him back because he definitely deserves it after the long journey he's had to get back. But currently up 1-0 because the Chushkin scoring a goal. So there you go. So it's like kind of catching glimpses. It's chippy already. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of fireworks in this game because you could definitely tell these teams do not like each other at all. So.
Nope. Not at all. But
that's why Gary Bettman will never move away from the divisional matchups for the playoffs because of stuff like this. So what can you do? But honestly, though, again, we're still ways away from any of these series being done. But for the fact that the Hurricanes are sitting at 2-0 as of right now, going into Game 3, you get the pressure on the Devils. Should definitely make Friday very interesting, but I'm feeling pretty good for where this team's at. And I think, the thing that's going to help out is just the depth is what's going to help out the Canes for sure. So,
well, let's go ahead. That was our glimpse around the league, but we'll go ahead and take a look at our AHL league because, again, like I said earlier, the Chicago Wolves are starting their run for the Calder Cup. They're beginning their playoffs in the Central Division. It's the first round. 3-game series versus the Rockford Ice Hogs. Currently, the game is going on right now, and it is 1-1. Chicago, their goal is by, all Canes fans will very clearly recognize him, but Juha Jaska got them on the board for the first game.
There you go. You'll love to see it. Yeah, and that's kind of the crazy thing when you look at the AHL's effect. You got, a shorter series around one. It kind of progresses as it goes. Plus, depending on the division, there's a lot of playing games too before you move on because some teams have buys, stuff like that. So the AHL does a very interesting thing with how they kind of figure out their playoff system. But it's good that the Wolves are in and. Hopefully they do well at beat Rockford, then move on to whoever, is kind of waiting for them in the second round. But it should definitely be interesting. It's good to see the Wolves back after missing the last two postseasons. It's weird not seeing them in, but hey, good to see them back. And honestly, just what Cam Abbott and his coaching staff have done to get these guys ready, that they're ready to bring some Calder matches back to Chicago.
I believe they had a good regular season record against Rockford. So hopefully the series plays out a lot like that. But yes, again, all Canes fans highly say, hey, check out, stay in touch and keep track of what's going on with the Wolves because
watch
depending what's going on with those, you also get you might have some Black Aces coming from there too. So we love to watch all of our younger guys play down there and guys that have made NHL debuts with us, all of that fun stuff. But guys, it's playoffs everywhere. The pucks are dropped. It's ready to go for Canes, for Wolves, and all around the NHL. Thanks so much for sticking with us for this episode. It's feeling good to be 2-0 in a series. We'll see how it is next episode after we've had 2 more games in Jersey. We'll see how our takes fared. But again, thanks so much for joining us. We will see you next time on the SurgeCast.
See ya.